Memphis track boy, let's go.
My Colorado swing. My Colorado swing. My Colorado swing.
Welcome into a new BuffStampede Radio, a special edition of the podcast. Adam Munsterteiger, the publisher of BuffStampede.com. And I'm sitting here excited to welcome in forever Buff punter Alex Kinney, as well as Dan. I was kind of struggling for a title for you. I think it's CU fan / firefighter extraordinaire. What would you like to have as your title for this show?
Really, whatever you'd like. I don't really have a title either, and buff enthusiast, firefighter, whatever you want, I'm good with. No specific title.
Well, we're going to get into both of your history with the University of Colorado, as well as what you guys are both doing with your firefighter efforts. Again, this is a change up and one that I'm excited for on the podcast. Alex, I'm gonna start here. It's been a minute. I just want to catch up. How has life been treating you since you finished those days as a punter in Boulder?
Yeah, it's been great. So I tried to obviously play after college. So I moved back to Fort Collins, waiting for the draft to happen. And I knew I wasn't going to get drafted, but I was hoping for after the draft I'd get something. And I ended up not getting anything. So I got stuck at my parents' house for longer than I wanted. So after that, I just kept training, and I thought I'd give it one more year. So I bounced around. I moved back to Boulder. I was doing handyman stuff. I helped a guy out in Boulder. He had a apartment that was open that I rented from him. So I lived there for a little bit, moved back to Fort Collins. At that point is when I got my EMT, and throughout all this, I was in contact with Dan about becoming a firefighter if things didn't work out. I had a tryout that, went to the Patriots, punted for, I think I punted 10 footballs and never heard a call back. So that was my extent of the NFL, and then ended up applying at Mountain View, got hired in February of 22, and been doing that ever since. Now I'm here in Loveland. So
it's tough as a specialist, right? In the NFL, I mean, those guys hang on for a long time. There just are not a whole lot of jobs. What was that experience like, just kind of dealing with the waiting game as you went through that?
Yeah, no, I took full advantage of it. You got to be at peace when you're done playing, and I felt like I was. I gave it 2 full years, or I guess after the season, and then 1 more year of trying to play, and it just wasn't in my card. So I was fine with that, and I got introduced to firefighting, and with the XFL and all those other leagues, I thought that might be a possibility, but I ended up landing the job at Mountain View, and so I decided may as well just start my career and call it good punting.
Dan, you talk about being a CU fan, and a lot of CU fans just show up and they cheer on their team, but you actually wrote a very heartfelt letter to the CU men's basketball team, in which Tad Boyle read to the team. You've had an opportunity to speak in front of the Buffaloes since Coach Prime took over in Boulder. Share a little bit about your story and what led you to become a CU fan. I know you've been a BuffStampede.com subscriber for a long time, and so I appreciate you for that. What has kind of your journey been like getting into being such a diehard Buff?
Well, that's a great question. So basically, I graduated high school in Northern California back in 2003, and I remember late 2001, some buddies of mine were over at my friend Boyd's house just watching college football, and we happened to flip on late November to this game. Colorado was playing Nebraska in 2001. I don't know if you guys remember what happened in that game, but we watched this game, and all of us were kind of staring at each other and thinking, that place looks awesome. And that's a place we definitely basically the 62-36 game got Colorado on our radar for me and actually 2 other of my friends. And 3 out of 4 of us ended up going to Colorado. And I fully attribute that to that game to get it on our radar. And once we got out to Colorado, I was there for the spring game in 2002, and I was just floored. We had the marching band come through right in front of Folsom, got to see some of the game, or maybe it was a practice, and I couldn't believe it was so different than what I'd seen in Berkeley and Stanford, and college football games in the Bay Area are just not what they are in Colorado and the Big 12. It's just, as you've been out there plenty of times. And so I was never really a college football fan before that. So long story short, got out to Colorado, and I remember that first year, 2003. My first game was the CU-CSU game up at Mile High with Joel Klatt starting and having the shootout in the pouring rain. I was just mesmerized by it, and just the excitement and how packed the stadium was. And then fast forward the next week to Folsom, or maybe it was 2 weeks. We were playing UCLA or Washington State, or I forget who, but we won that game. I forget which one it was, but I remember hearing the roar of the crowd and how united everyone was. And that moment changed me. In terms of being a lifelong CU football fan, I just knew that I was home, and these were my people. And it was weird. The feeling I got in me, I'd never felt ever before at any football game, pro, college, or anything.
Today's episode is brought to us by Macaulay Capital Fractional CFO Services. Is your business looking for financial guidance and support, but not yet big enough to hire a full-time CFO? Well, we have a solution for you. Hiring a fractional CFO who can work with your business on a part-time basis. You get the benefit of having a seasoned financial expert on your team without the commitment or expense of a full-time hire. And here's the best part. It's likely that a partnership with Macaulay Capital will be a win-win situation, meaning that your business will make more money from the guidance of a fractional CFO than the total cost of partnering with us. For more information or to set up a meeting, please visit MacaulayCapital.com. That's MCCAULEY Capital.com.
William, everybody that listens to our podcast knows that we love the Hungry Toad. They've been bringing a taste of England to Boulder since 1991. At the Hungry Toad, they serve up hearty homemade fare from their scratch kitchen, paired with a brilliant selection of British beers. They're the perfect spot for friends and family to gather, relax, and enjoy the warm, welcoming atmosphere. If you're mad for football, so are they. Whether it's the American gridiron or European footy, they proudly support CU football and CU women's soccer. The Hungry Toad, Boulder's local pub that's not on Pearl Street. Head to 2543 Broadway in Boulder.
And you know what? Hans Serrata don't take no whoopings either. He hands them out. How's that for a second?
I love it.
Yeah. So really fell in love with the program, football, and it was a unique, special experience I'd never felt before. And as I went through the years, graduated in 2007. I wanted to become more involved in the program, and my passion, like all my friends could see, like, you should be working for CU football. You should be working for the athletic department. And it never quite worked out. But, as you could see over the years, there's things that I tried to do and ended up doing a little bit that got me a little closer to it. So long story short, that's kind of where I was at. Well,
it's a great story for people that sometimes don't see the value in athletics to see how it is the front porch to a university, right? Like Colorado wouldn't have been on your radar if it wasn't for 61-36. So, that's a great story and something that needs to be pointed out just in terms of the importance of Colorado football for this university. And we've seen it, guys, really take off to another level under Coach Prime Sanders. I'm curious, we'll start with you, Alex, and then go to Dan. What has it been like to watch your alma mater have this transition from 2022 to now being more in the spotlight than possibly any program in the country?
Yeah, no, I think it's pretty exciting. I think it's cool. However, whatever it takes to go and win football, that's kind of what I'm all about, and that's what he's doing. So I've enjoyed watching the players be who they are. I know social media is huge now. It's a big part of college football. I wouldn't say it was a big part of my college football. So seeing guys being able to be who they are and, all the NIL stuff that comes with it. It's been really fun to watch. Obviously, bringing the Heisman Trophy winner to Colorado is something fun to watch. It's been great. It's just, you talk with Dan, and it's like, whatever it takes to win is what we're about. And so I think they're doing that. I think they're on the right path. And it's been fun.
Dan, what's it been like to, watch this program become under the national spotlight?
I mean, honestly, surreal. Like, I always had these, ever since, 2003, following this program, I had these aspirations to be part of a program that was in the top 5 every single year, that produced NFL draft picks, Heisman Trophy winners. So that was my vision for it. And to see the athletic department and everyone else get on that same page and have that same bar that I had was unbelievable. Quick story, in 2022, that last game of the year, I'm with my son Ryan at the last football game against Utah, and it's halftime. Stadium's about a third full. We're down, 35-0. And my son asked me, he's like, "Why do you do this? Or why do we do this?" And I that was literally the first time I had my breaking point with CU football. I'm like, I don't think I can keep doing this. And I feel like it was that breaking point that it took me to, where God just had to take me there. And then literally a week or two later, news started filtering out about Coach Prime, and just unbelievable. And then what transpired the last couple of years is just, I couldn't, you couldn't have drawn this up or written a movie any better than this. It's been just absolutely wild seeing Travis win the Heisman, and how competitive the football team is, and how they're on every single week. I'm honestly speechless and extremely blessed to be a witness, like we all are, to what's going on right now.
Alex, you just missed out on that NIL phase. What would have been the ideal NIL deal for Alex Kinney during his college career?
Depends on what year you're talking about, right? I got short hair now, and I had short hair at the end, but I would have loved a conditioner deal or something when I had my mullet and long hair. I got to give it to the girls. It takes a lot to maintain that. You got to wash it and dry it, and it gets greasy, and it's a whole nightmare. So I would have loved some sort of hair deal.
Horse and mane or Head and Shoulders. You could have definitely got that with that picture, because that hair you had was magnificent.
Yeah, it's expensive. There's a lot you gotta do to it. I'd love it, like an outdoor sporting deal, some sort of, hunting, fishing, something like that. That would have been fun to work with somebody like that. But no, I had a great time there, and it's awesome seeing guys get those deals and all the funny things they're doing, different people getting different deals from companies, and it's fun to watch. So, yeah.
So not too much resentment there then. It's just missed you guys. Did you get any of that kickback from EA Sports and all that stuff?
Yeah, there's actually a settlement going on right now that I'm in. And I'm not really up to date on it, on the payouts or whatever. I just know that there's an opt-in period. And so it was good catching up with guys that I played with, asking them, making sure that they had signed up for that settlement. So I was reaching out to a bunch of guys I played with and making sure everyone's all set. But no resentment, none of that. I had a great time there, and I got schooling paid for. That's what it used to be, is just schooling and food you could get going to college. So, but it's fun seeing these guys, make money and do deals with different companies.
If I'm correct, you played in 54 games as a Buff, which was a school record at the time. I was trying to think back to guys that have played since you, because we've had this new COVID season, not counting against eligibility. I know Nate Lamon got close to breaking that. He got like 49 or something like that games played. Do you still own that record, Alex? Do you know?
I have no idea. I'm
going to research that. I'm going to research that.
Yeah, I assume by default I have it, because that true senior year I played in 8 games, so I sat out 4. It was the opposite. I played in 4, sat out 8. If somebody goes to a couple bowl games and same situation happens that happened to me, then it could be beat. But I always think it's funny that that I do have that, and it's not by anything but default. And it's crazy for Landman to have played in that many games. I think that's pretty cool, playing as a linebacker and in that many games at CU. So, and I know he just got married, which is exciting.
Yeah, definitely. And you were at Brady Russell's wedding recently.
Yeah, I was at Brady Russell's, so some old guys were there that I got to see, and so that was fun seeing, Alec Pell, Davis Price, Austin Johnson. We call him Salsa. It was good seeing those guys, catching up, and I've been in contact with Brady for, since I got done playing.
When you broke your collarbone, is that what created that medical hardship for you?
Yeah, so I broke it game 2 against Nebraska, and then I was out and was able to play 2 more games. So that's where and then I was still able to use a red shirt. And then year 1, we played 13 games, no bowl game. And then year 2, we played 12 with a bowl game. And then I forgot the math, but yeah, there's a lot of luck that's in there. I think it's a funny record that we'll see if it sticks around.
You finished second most in program history with 91 punts inside the 20. I'm curious, when you think back to your time in Boulder, your 5+ years with the Buffaloes, what continues to stand out when you think about those times randomly?
Well, we can talk about this later if you want. I can bring it up right now. So all my friends, because I'm from Fort Collins, they went to CSU. And then all my family on my mom's side's from Nebraska. And when I was playing, we went 5-0 against CSU and 2-0 against Nebraska. So it doesn't matter what anyone says. I just bring that up. And you can say Nebraska or CSU, but never lost to them. And hopefully we never will again.
Well, at one point you had told me that you had family, I think an aunt and an uncle that were in North Platte, Nebraska, that were actually put out a CU flag on game day. Is that still happening? Were you able to convert them, or were they just supporting you?
That's a good question. I know they definitely still follow CU. My aunt unfortunately passed away a few years ago, but I know my uncle's still in North Platte. I'm sure he's still a Buff fan. I am. It's once you're there, it's hard to get away, especially with what's going on right now. So I'm sure that they still are. I want to know why they aren't, but yeah, that was always funny seeing that flag, or I'd get pictures and they'd make it out to almost every game. So I always appreciated them.
Dan, we talked about how you fell in love with the Buffs. What are your best memories outside of 61-36? Are there some times between that and that disgusting game back in 2022 that you referenced at Folsom Field? Are there some memories that you really hold on to that were able to sustain you through some tough years as a fan?
Right. Well, yeah, like you said, it was, 2003, 4, 5, we got a good taste in it, and we weren't quite where we wanted to be. But my expectation with Coach Barnett was every year we're minimum 8-4, 7-5 at the worst. And then unfortunately things kind of got rough there with Dan Hawkins for a while and his inability to successfully lead a program forward. But to answer your question, there's little pockets here and there. 2016 really recharged my soul. Standing there, I remember with my wife in the stands when we were playing Washington State at the end of the year in Utah. I remember I was on duty responding to calls when we were playing in that super tight game against Stanford. I think we won like 10-7 or something like that.
10-5.
10-5. Yeah. And I remember, yes. And I was on pins and needles. I'm like, if we can win this game, this season we're going somewhere. We were driving. Oh geez. Yeah. I guess the game against Oregon too, where Akella Witherspoon picked that ball off in the end zone. I nearly crashed on I-25 because we were heading to some concert or some show. And that was really special because, man, I wanted to beat Oregon so bad. But winning the Pac-12 South that year and punching our ticket to go to the Pac-12 championship was really, really special. And then I think also just every Nebraska win I've been to, that one way back 65-51, geez, I forget what that was in 2008, something around there. And just every win we've had against them, the one a couple years ago was absolutely amazing. Yeah, those are the big ones that it was enough to just pull me right back in, just as I was feel myself fading away a little bit. And I've just never gotten away. CU football is a big part of my life. And like you talked about earlier, my family wouldn't exist, like legitimately, if it weren't for Colorado football. And I'm not being facetious. I don't come out to Colorado. I don't meet my wife. I don't have my 2 boys. I don't live here. I don't have my career here. It's a very different path I could have gone on. So yeah, those games, pretty special.
That's awesome. How do you get to the point of where you're addressing the Colorado football team with Coach Prime kind of leading the charge there? I know that you had a big role in Alex becoming a firefighter. Like, what other steps did you take to get to that point of really trying to make this a path that Colorado football players can take if they want to?
I attribute all of it is just to my passion. And, none of this was for notoriety or to put a name on the map. And all I wanted to do was help. And, my wife and I have pretty modest salaries as a fireman. She's in commercial real estate. And I wanted to keep giving back to the program and make a difference for student athletes, and to separate the goal of Buffs on Fire is to separate CU from other universities and how we help mentor student athletes and get them to the next level if it's, not going to be in professional football. So I just had expectations in myself to give back. And I reached out to the career services department, Leah Alvarado, many years ago, and said, I'd love to help out student athletes if they want to get into either being police officers or firefighters. I have some contacts to hook them up with PD if that's a route they wanted to go. And then I'd love to mentor, football players who want to become firefighters. And I've had a bunch now that I've luckily been able to do, and they've done all the work. I've just helped guide them and just helped them get in the door. Because I remember getting into firefighting back in 2012. It's a challenging process, and without having a roadmap, it was tricky. Actually, there was a guy on the board, Adam, that helped me get into firefighting, who I just randomly met, and he works for West Metro Fire, and I thank him for helping me get into it. But anyway, I just wanted to help out and make a difference. And once again, try to separate CU as a superior institution from all the other Pac-12, Big 12 schools, Colorado State, and just say that we have a fan base that cares over and beyond giving money and supporting football. We have a fan base that shows up and helps develop people to get them to the next level.
Did Cristiano Palazzo end up joining the firefighting force, or is that still pending?
He actually just applied. We just opened up a new process with Mountain View Fire, and I've been texting with him regularly, and he's putting in his app now. He actually just got married, so he's on his way back from his honeymoon, I believe. I worked with JT Bale. He got on with Thornton Fire, of course, Alex Kinney, and then we got Sean Grunman also at Mountain View Fire. And then we had one more. I forget who was the center a couple years ago. I haven't talked to him in a while. It's Colby Purcell. Yeah, Colby Purcell. He's with South Metro Fire. So
Nice.
those are the ones I've gotten to work with. And yeah, I'm hoping Cristiano, he's working hard, and he'll be the next successful buff that comes over to Mountain View or to whatever department he ends up at. I just want him to get in. So
For both you guys, and we'll start with Alex here. I'm curious what day-to-day looks like for you on the job.
Yeah, well, I first wanted to thank Dan. It's pretty cool seeing somebody come and help out. I was trying to play football and it didn't work out, and firefighting was always in the back of my mind. And so JT actually met Dan first, and Dan in firefighting, a lot of different jobs, it's who you know, but in firefighting, like, you can give somebody the tools, but at some point you got to, go through the interview panel and talk to the chiefs and do all the testing. So there's a certain, you can get prepped for it, but then it's on you. And Dan did a great job with that. I remember the first time we met, I believe he had his labrum surgery. So his arm was, tucked up in his arm or against his stomach. And he was telling me what it's all about, what I need to do, and answered all my phone calls, drove me down to Denver with him to pick up his truck one day and just went over interview questions. So it's awesome having somebody like that to be able to guide you. And it worked out, and he's helped a bunch of guys. I know Cepho, he didn't go through Dan, I don't think, but I know he's a firefighter now, so that's cool. Day to day, it's you go on for 2 days, so 48 hours. It's a 48-96, so 48 hours on, 96 off. I'm currently at Station 8. We're not the busiest station, but I got a good crew. So, we come in, we do our truck checks, make sure everything's good. We got our morning meeting starting at 7:30, which basically everyone in the department that's on shift that day logs in. They go over the schedule for 48 hours. Any road closures, events, anything like that, they talk about that there. And then after that, it's, we've got different trainings. We had CPR training. I got off this morning. So yesterday we had CPR training at our new admin office. So we went and did that. It's days filled with either calls. If there's no calls, you can do training. There's stuff around the station you got to do. It's basically like you're living at home, but you're on call. And if you get a call, you're gone. So I pulled weeds, right? Like you do everything that you do while you're at home, but then you add different EMS trainings, fire trainings, running calls. We at Station 8, we cover a lot. So we went over to another station, covered them. And it's a fun job. It's a fun career, and I'm enjoying it. So,
Dan, how does it look for you on a daily basis?
Very similar. And I'll just say, too, putting this out there first, I've gotten a ton of kudos within my department from guys like Alex and Sean. They're phenomenal firemen. Most of the viewers probably don't know this, but I can put this out there, and Alex will never tell you. The guy's an animal. I don't care that he's a punter. Watching that guy work out and what he does, and I can move pretty quick and move some weight. He is on another level. And same with Sean. Student athletes are phenomenal. Make that transition so well. But to answer the question, it's very similar. So the only main difference I have from Alex is being at Mountain View a little bit longer. I'm acting as a lieutenant most of the time. I've been temporarily promoted. I'm at our Dacono station right now as the lieutenant on A shift. So I'm in more of a supervisory role, being there a little bit more. I've got my own crew, ambulance company, and engine company, at least for the time being. And I never feel like I have to work, which to me is a true blessing. Like showing up to work, getting our stuff done. We run calls, we train together, we share stories together on what's going on at home and how we feel with stuff that's going on at work, having rough calls, good calls, funny calls, whatever it may be. And then we live like another family over there, and it's truly a blessing. And I just can't see myself doing anything else. And I feel very blessed to be able to do that and help people out. And I think one of the main reasons I did this program is to highlight blue collar jobs again, that service to the community and giving back is really important in an environment, in a world where everyone's trying to notice themselves and get themselves on the map. But having a bigger calling, whether it's military, police, fire, is very, very important, and seeing a bigger picture that serves others. So I love what I do. And I think, like I said, Alex outlined the big stuff that we do on a daily basis. So, yeah.
Yeah, kind of building off that, Dan, what's been the most fulfilling aspect of this career for you?
Honestly, I think there's really two parts is, being able to circle up with a family, maybe after we've had a really rough call or a close call whether it's a cardiac arrest, we're able to bring back, or someone who's really hurt in a car accident and, talking to a son or a daughter or a mother or father who thanks us for being there for their loved one. I think that helps outline why we're there. And helps us see that bigger picture of what we do on a daily basis and why it's so important to train and to take this career so seriously. Also, I really would say Buffs on Fire and helping mentor student athletes has been one of my one of my callings and my favorite parts. I want to give back to Colorado, because Colorado has given so much to me, and specifically Colorado football has meant so much to me, that I just see it as a way to help other people get in this career, and to see Alex and Sean and all the other guys, Cristiano now, looking to be very successful in this is incredibly fulfilling, to help me, or to show that I can help get them in the door. And then they do all the work. They do all the heavy lifting, and they show themselves that they absolutely have what it takes to do this. And I'm just very blessed to be part of that process.
Great stuff, Dan. Alex, anything that kind of stands out in that vein of things that really make you feel like this is the right path for you, things that give you that energy to want to be great at your job?
Yeah, well, kind of Dan said quite a bit of it, but no, it's once you're done playing and you're off a team, that's kind of the one thing you look for, is to join a team again. And you can see it with all the guys that are becoming firefighters and police officers. That's what you look for. And that's kind of how Dan sold it to me. And that's exactly what it's been, being part of a team, something bigger than yourself, the idea of being able to work for something and then it helped somebody else, I think is pretty fun. And that's definitely been rewarding. And yeah, Dan kind of nailed it.
Great stuff, guys. I've known both of you quite a while, and I love football talk, but these are the stories I love telling in July. And I really appreciate the work and have a lot of respect for what you guys are doing, and appreciate you taking some time out of your schedule to update CU fans on your passion for the Buffs, but also what you guys are doing day to day.
Thanks, Adam. Really appreciate it. It's been awesome.
Yeah,
thanks, guys. Yeah, thanks again. And thanks everybody out there for tuning in.